Good morning. Welcome to Tip Off. Hope you guys are doing well. I'll be back on Bowler, Jack, Locke, and Gerard in the morning. Excuse me, at 3 today, as Scotty's out for one more day. And then, as I mentioned yesterday, Bowler and I somewhat disappear during the summer, though I'll stay on this and a lot of draft stuff coming up for you and all the rest. So it should be, hopefully, we'll continue to interact. That was the goal when I took the play by play job to still interact with you 365 days a year, but we're just going to do some of it via the internet, Locked on Jazz, and these various tip offs. Remember, you can sign up to follow me, Locked On Sports, on Facebook. Appreciate if you gave that a like. And then on Twitter, Locked On Sports as well. We're inching toward 9,000 Twitter followers. So appreciate all the support we can get there. The T-shirt today, it's K-Fan. The T-shirt controversy continues, so I'm willing to be a billboard. So just send your T-shirts to 434 Bearcat Drive, Salt Lake City, Utah 84121. Let's start with Jimmer. That's where everything starts. I talked to someone who was at the workout yesterday in Indiana, and really no surprise from what we know who Jimmer is. He's going to battle. He's going to play well. He's going to shoot well, and that's exactly what it is. He was good. He was Jimmer Fredette. He shot the ball well. He handled the point well. He played at different speeds. He showed that he has that Brandon Roy quality to him of being able to not be the fastest guy on the floor, but be able to hesitate and change the way he's going. Very poised, tough kid. Needs to be better defensively. The guy continued, said he's a great kid. The Nolan Smith-Jimmer matchup was terrific. He said it was very even. There were some reports Jimmer killed him. That's inaccurate. Jimmer played well, but so did Nolan Smith. And this person said to me, Jimmer is a true point guard. He's much more than a shooter. And what might be more interesting, the question I think that's preventing scouts from pulling the trigger on Jimmer is whether or not he can be a quality starter in the league. This guy believed he could, and the question then he also brought up, hey, he could be a very good backup. He could be a star. I've heard one other scout that I talked to a lot, one of the GM type, who said to me he believes that Jimmer could turn out to be Mark Price, and I would classify that as a star. But this was the first time in some time I'd heard heard someone say that they thought he could be a star. So that was, I think, a positive step forward for Jimmer. It might have something to do with what the rest of this draft class looks like, and he's going to look better over time. It's going to be very interesting to see. I think his upside is a parallel to Jason Terry. Jason Terry's being exposed a little bit in the playoffs right now, despite all of his years of experience. But Jason Terry's also a guy who in Atlanta became the point guard, averaged about 19 points a game, but didn't see the floor great, well enough to really hold the point guard position, then found his niche in Dallas as the sixth man coming off the bench, more likely than not playing off the ball. Though at times they used to play him as point, he almost does it none anymore. And I wonder if that's where Jimmer's headed. But again, some people believe, and I'd have to watch him on the NBA level. It's hard to tell from the BYU system of whether he's got natural point guard skills or not. So he's got natural basketball skills. Point guard skills are different. There's just no question he makes plays and does things well for his teammates. I've been looking at Alec Burks a little bit. I'm not finished with. I've got another game to watch. Or actually, I'm in the middle of. Actually, I guess I'm in my second game already with him. I did the Texas A&M game, and about 1 a.m. last night finished up with Kansas. It goes to overtime in one of those games. And he's got some skills that are interesting. He's heavy dribbler. He gets his shots off. He does some good things in that regard. He doesn't make them all. He's not a great defensive player. He's different than what I anticipated, and so I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it. But that's a guy who's floating around 12, and Jimmer's every bit the player that Burks is, except for the fact that Burks is 6'6" and naturally athletic to play that position, where Jimmer's a little different in that regard. Yesterday on the show, I revealed my draft board, which is also up on Locked On Jazz, but I have Kyrie 1. I have Brandon Knight 2, as much as I said yesterday, because he doesn't have to alter his position. Cantor 3, though Matt Hartbring was on the show yesterday and ripped Cantor. Not ripped him, just say he didn't like him. I put Derek Williams at 4, though I must tell you, the more I watch the NBA after watching Derek Williams, I'm having a hard time with it. One of the major problems for Derek Williams, he's a 2-foot jumper. And you watch the NBA Finals, and sure, those are the best of the best, but nobody's taking the time to bring that other foot in. And you bring that other foot in the NBA, and you're in trouble. It just takes way, way too long. I mean, that's where just 2 feet jumpers don't survive in the NBA. That extra second. I actually had 4. I had Montejunas, who was my personal guy. I really think he could be good and maybe dead wrong. I mean, throughout my time in the NBA, I've missed on guys like this. I thought Vladimir Radmanovic could be a really nice player, and he didn't parlay out to that. But Montejudas is 7 feet tall and uh, passes beautifully, can play in the post, can use both hands. Isn't particularly tough or great defensively, but I think he can help your team. And really, with how you're winning with Derek Williams, to me right now is a little bit of a mystery. Then Jan Vesely, if he could ever shoot, he'd skyrocket up the board, followed by Valanciunas and Kemba. Again, that's up for you at Locked on Jazz. Last night's NBA final game. Uh, the big picture is Miami just wears you down physically with their athleticism and their speed. And the last team that I saw do this to anyone is the old Bulls. The Jazz used to wear you down. That great Jazz team would wear teams down, bust them in the mouth in the beginning of the third quarter when teams just didn't want to fight that fight anymore. But this is athleticism, speed, length, beating you in a fashion that's a little differently than the kind of physical pounding. I almost would think of them. I don't want to make. I mean, they're pretty physical, so I'm trying to think of an analogy. They're not the power straight ahead football team where you just miss the tackle and the running back goes. They're more of a pretty powerful spread offense team, I would say, where there's so many plays in a game where you've got to make that tackle in the open field, and then finally you just have to relent, and they just wear you out in that fashion. I thought Dallas moved the basketball beautifully for much of the night, and still we're having a hard time scoring. This isn't surprising to me. It's what we talked about yesterday on Bowler, Jack, Locke, and Gerard, and what I tweeted yesterday that I just thought Dallas would have a hard time scoring, and that's not a huge surprise. And they're going to make some adjustments, but I'm not sure what adjustments they have because some of their players, Jason Terry, J.J. Barea, maybe even now Sean's playing really well, who have some weaknesses. Peja has a weakness or two. Those are being exposed right now as the playoffs continue, and I'm not sure where I see those changing. But as we learned in the Chicago-Miami series, you can't overreact to Game 1, particularly to Game 1 that has a huge rebounding situation, which I think will become more even if Dallas is in the zone. But the issue to me is you watch Miami right now, and they just wear you down with an insane athleticism, the speed by which you have to play to match them, the level of focus you have to match them, and the beauty of a 48-minute game is that over that time period, it eventually gets you. All right, that's our tip-off for today, June 1st. Hope you enjoy it. It's beautiful out. Hopefully, I'm going to get a bike ride in today. I'll be on at 3 with you with Bowler, Jack, Locke, and Gerard. Bye, YouTube. Classic Jazz Head here. Hope you're good. See you.